The cargo bay of the Celestial Drift hummed with the quiet efficiency of a ship in deep space. Marcus Reed wiped grease from his hands, surveying the hyperdrive components scattered across his workbench. 20 years as a mechanic on various vessels had taught him to expect the unexpected, but nothing had prepared him for the Dragon Egg. It had arrived 3 months ago, a diplomatic gift from the Drakari Empire to the Andromeda Coalition. The obsidian shell, veined with gold, required precise environmental controls during transport. Marcus had been assigned to maintain the incubation chamber, a task he'd accepted with professional detachment. Then the egg hatched, and everything changed. Pyra emerged in a cascade of membrane and starlight, her scales shimmering between crimson and violet, depending on the angle of light. The Drakari ambassador had explained that hatchlings bonded quickly, usually to their own kind. The plan was simple: keep Pyra comfortable until they reached the Coalition embassy on Terran Prime, where Drakari attendants would raise her properly. The plan lasted exactly 4 hours. That first night, Pyra's wails echoed through 3 decks. The ambassador tried everything Drakari lullabies, temperature adjustments, even ancient bonding rituals. Nothing worked. The hatchling's cries grew more desperate, a sound that made even the ship's hardened security chief wince. Marcus's son, Jonah, had wandered into the cargo bay around midnight, drawn by the commotion. At 15, the boy had inherited his father's curiosity and his late mother's gentle nature. He approached the containment area where Pyra thrashed, her small wings beating against the transparent walls. "Hey there," Jonah said softly, pressing his palm against the barrier. Pyra stopped mid-cry. Her crystalline eyes, still clouded with newborn confusion, locked onto the human boy. She chirped a questioning, hopeful sound and pressed her snout against the barrier where Jonah's hand rested. The ambassador's jaw dropped. Impossible. But it wasn't. When they carefully opened the containment field, Pyra launched herself at Jonah, coiling around his shoulders like a scaly scarf. She made a sound halfway between a purr and a rumble, then promptly fell asleep. That should have been the end of it, a curious moment, Izali explained. Except it happened every single night afterward. The crew tried everything. They moved Jonah's quarters to the opposite end of the ship. Pyra screamed until the hull plating vibrated. They assigned rotating shifts of Drakari handlers. She ignored them completely, her cries reaching a pitch that triggered the ship's emergency systems. They even attempted sedation, but the medical officer refused after the first attempt left Pyra lethargic and Jonah inexplicably exhausted. The only solution that worked was Jonah sleeping in the cargo bay, Pyra curled against his chest, her breathing synchronized with his. Ambassador Kethrax became obsessed with understanding why. He ran genetic scans, analyzed pheromone levels, even consulted the Drakari high scholars through quantum communication. Every test came back normal. Every theory crumbled under scrutiny. "It makes no sense," Kethrax muttered during a senior staff meeting. "Drakari bond to strength, to dominance, to fire in the blood. Humans are ... fragile. Weak. No offense intended, Captain." Captain Yara, a Zenthi warrior with scales of her own, narrowed her eyes. "Careful, Ambassador." Marcus stood at the back of the room, arms crossed. He'd been listening to variations of this conversation for weeks. "Maybe you're measuring wrong." Kethrax turned. "Excuse me?" "You keep talking about strength like it's just physical power or combat prowess," Marcus said. "But my son? He survived things that would break most people. Lost his mother when he was 8. Watched her die from theta radiation poisoning after she saved 30 colonists from a reactor breach. He still has nightmares." The room fell silent. Marcus continued, his voice steady. "He's been dragged across half the galaxy because his old man can't stay planetside. New ship, new crew, new schools every few months. No friends his own age, but does he complain? No, he adapts. He learns. He finds ways to keep going. That's not..." Kethrax began. "You want to know what strength looks like to a newborn dragon?" Marcus interrupted. "Maybe it's not fire and fury. Maybe it's resilience. Maybe it's kindness despite pain. Maybe humans survive differently than Drakari, and maybe that's exactly what Pyra recognizes." Kethrax opened his mouth, then closed it. His expression shifted, something like understanding dawning in his ancient eyes. Later that night, Marcus found Jonah in the cargo bay as usual. Pyra was awake, listening intently as the boy read from a battered datapad human fairy tales about knights and dragons. "Dad thinks I'm crazy for reading these to you," Jonah said, scratching behind Pyra's ear ridges. But I figure you should know both versions of the story. The ones where dragons are monsters and the ones where they're heroes. Pyra chirped, nudging the datapad with her snout. Marcus watched from the doorway, something tight in his chest loosening. The next morning, Ambassador Kethrax made an announcement that rippled through the coalition. The Drakari Empire was proposing a new bonding program, studying human-dragon connections. Preliminary research suggested humans possessed qualities emotional resilience, adaptive intelligence, protective instinct that resonated with draconic consciousness in unexpected ways. The galaxy would talk about this for years. Scientists would debate, philosophers would theorize, politicians would negotiate new treaties. But in the cargo bay of the Celestial Drift, none of that mattered. Jonah Reed slept peacefully, a dragon hatchling curled against his heart, both of them dreaming of the stars. And for the first time since leaving Earth, Jonah felt like he'd found where he belonged.